The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Welcome to The Weekend Podcast on my Paddy, Peter and Steve. You all right, lads?
Morning.
Hello, yes. Happy weekend.
Yeah, happy weekend. We've been talking about Paddy's patio because he's been doing a house up now for 5 years. I'm rubbish at DIY, Paddy. I'm impressed you've done that because your background is not DIY. Your background is just doing radio and stuff like that. So on media,
take stuff off.
You are a media boy. So how have you gone from being a media boy to doing up your? Would you just teach yourself off the internet or what? How did that work?
Yeah, it's all from YouTube basically.
That's good, isn't it?
It's in the genes. My family's all carpenters and stuff, so we're born to do this. But and I've taught myself. There's been some dicey moments along the way. I almost destroyed the back of the house when I was knocking down some walls.
Yeah, but that's how you learn, isn't it? That's how you learn. But also,
it is. Next time I install a steel, I know exactly how not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you my one bit of DIY success I thought I had in my flat when I'm in Cardiff? A flat in Cardiff Bay there, brand new. All I needed to do really was put the sort of curtain rails and hang sort of mirrors and stuff like that, right? But I found it very hard. I couldn't do it. I couldn't put a curtain rail up, put the curtains on, just fell off. What's going on there?
We've gone from putting a patio down to putting a curtain rail up.
I know. I'm just saying that's my level of competence here, incompetence. So what I did one day, then I put a nice sort of mirror, big mirror in the bathroom. I thought to give it a sense of size, So I put it up, and it went. And I thought, right, learning from the curtain rails, I wasn't using big enough screws, obviously. So I thought I'd do this in the bathroom now, bigger screws. So I put it up, sweating like a pig on my own. Dude, I did it though. I thought, brilliant. And I thought I was exercising. I'm going to go next door now, just lie on the bed because I was a bit sweaty, and just think about my success in the DIY field. I lay down on the bed there, looked at the wall, which was adjoining the bathroom. And there's 6 massive holes coming through the wall. Just these massive screws I'd put in were way too long. I thought, oh no, that was short-lived, that success. So I thought, you know what? In the end, don't bother with that. Get someone who can do it. Pay him a bit more, because it's like buying, buy cheap, buy twice, isn't it? It's that kind of saying. Get someone who's good in that area. I'm just not good in that. My competence is not that area,
But also, it just takes so long.
Yeah.
If I'd had the money, I would have loved to have got other people to do all of this.
Mm-hmm. How much do you think your house value's gone down since you started working on it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably not really gone up.
That's Croydon, though, isn't it? Croydon.
Yeah. Croydon the house price in Croydon went through the roof over the last year, but not in this area.
Yours went through the floor.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, boys, but to start off with a bit of a funny, I thought. Sky News, Pete saw it, but don't say anything, Pete. Sky News reported the story that ice cream tests positive for coronavirus in China. So it's actually coronavirus in the ice cream, the soft ice cream.
Like a flavour.
And they had a picture of ice cream cone, and I replied with coronavirus. And everyone had 65 likes on that on Twitter. That was good, though, wasn't it? Anyway, coming up on the podcast here, who is winning now the coronavirus war? Right, Twitter poll, Steve's itchy feet. We talked about Paddy's patio. Pad being a subscriber and pretending he is and wasn't, not really. Balancing portfolio, brand shields, esports, EV, new project. Let's start off with, the coronavirus. Do you see they shut all the travel corridors down into the UK?
Yeah, finally.
I know.
It would have been a good thing to do this time last year.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It's almost comical how slow and reactionary Boris is. And yet he was questioning about this on the update. And someone said, didn't you think it was a bit late to do this? He said, no, because now we've got these new variants, all these variants coming from. We've got Brazil. What's the worst variant out there? Okay, how many variants have you heard, boys? Where have you heard variants coming from?
South Africa and Brazil.
There's about 40 of them, apparently.
Yes, but South Africa and Brazil are particularly bad variants. They say they're bad variants. They spread. I think the UK variant is quite good. It's gone everywhere, isn't it? Been really powerful. It's gone around the world.
Yeah. One thing we're good at.
That's one of our great exports, I know. But South Africa. But the guy said yesterday, Valence, said it doesn't look like it'll have any effect. The vaccine will have effect on it. So they'll still be killed by the vaccine. Of course, they start to mutate slowly over time. Lots of times, but it takes a lot to get rid of the vaccine. Did you see that, Pad? Paddy is the only guy here who's had coronavirus, and you gave blood plasma, didn't you, Pad?
No, they turned me away.
Why?
I'm going next week.
They won't do it. They won't do it next week.
Not now.
Did you see the
They
news?
sent me an email saying they needed me to go in, so I went in, and then they said I was there too early, so they sent me home. So I'm going next week.
Did you see the news though?
And it was a nice day out. It was, it was a fun evening out of the house. So that was fine.
But did you see the news, Pad? Did you see the news today?
No.
They've done a 10,000 person trial on the blood plasma thing. Doesn't work.
No, right.
Clinical trials,
Anyway, so
complete waste of time. So, so they won't have you then anyway. But let's have any thoughts, right? Steve, I'm interested in your thoughts. What's your thoughts at the moment? Vaccinations, the amount of people getting done, hospital admissions, and Pete and Pad. What's your overall thoughts? One sentence, one line. What's your thoughts on it? Targets they've set. Steve, what's your thoughts on it?
I think they're going quite well. I think this time, they're actually going to smash the targets. In fact, I'm saying that because I was watching about on Sky News, which actually, because they had that leaked document from Scotland, didn't they? Which the UK government told them to pull down straight away, and it looks like that they're actually underplaying it this time. So I got confident. I think they're going to hit it and probably go over.
Well, Steve, you said that last week. You were the only one that's positive on it.
I think sometimes you can be constantly negative, and do you know what? I'm taking the step on life of just being positive about everything, and
Oh, Steve, that's good.
Yeah,
It's good to have a heavy level of cynicism, but like anything, it's like a balanced portfolio. Being negative all the time doesn't work, There are people like that on Twitter, and you've got to realise sometimes, we're all going to die. You may as well look at the bright side. Because you do exist on this planet, in a sad way, looking at negative things, but or do you just look for the positives in life? Because there's plenty out there. But have you changed your mind now, Pat and Pete? Because last week you said they wouldn't hit the target, didn't you?
Well, it's when they aim for the middle of February, so a month's time.
Yes, so listen, in fact, these are the figures, right? They've done now 3.2 million, vaccinations. That was an increase, this is a Friday on Thursday, an increase of 316,000 pretty much. They need to be doing 392,000 a day to mid-Feb to hit the target, but they went up to 316,000 yesterday. What's your thoughts? So they're 15,000.
I think they'll do it.
Yeah, they're about 70,000 off the daily.
And obviously, every day they miss, the total they need to do every day goes up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll be up.
I think they'll. Yeah, I think they'll probably do that. It depends on this. So Pfizer are slowing down delivery, aren't they? Which isn't going to be helpful. Depends whether Oxford can increase their output to fill that hole. But they said they were going to do 2 million a week from next week. So I think it's possible.
I think there's a chance they might hit it, and I think it's always good to have ambitious targets anyway, isn't it? But I think it's going to be a slow acceleration, I would hope, and almost an exponential growth in vaccine. Obviously, the delivery problem will impact
and that's all
that.
fine, obviously, isn't it? I mean, it just didn't need to be this way. They could have hit the ground running a lot easier.
But, isn't this quite typical of us in that, we're a bit perhaps disorganised on some of this stuff to start, and then we start nailing it, and then it really starts to kick in, and let's look further down the line, March, April, I would like to think, will be really maybe ahead of the curve by then.
Yeah. But the thing is, what's nice to know is that sentiment is changing. When they first put the poll out last week on this, a lot of people said no. I think 64% said no, didn't they? 33% said yes. And because, of course, they haven't hit their targets, but it's not in Boris's hands, this. I mean, it's largely down to the supply of the vaccine juice and the people organising it, which is the army. And then there's a tried and tested route, isn't it? With the flu vaccinations, they give millions of those out every year. And now, I think these figures are in delay as well. I think I don't know what that document was, Steve, but that's breaking news to me. But I think these figures will ramp up because they're only at the moment doing 200 pharmacies. That's going to ramp up. They're they're only doing 6 pharmacies at the moment. So that's going to ramp up to 200 this week. So that's a huge uplift, and I think these figures are in delay. If you look at the stats on the site, I look at them every day. It says it's when they're reported, so that may not be the actual day. They may be down the line a bit. So I think they'll do it. But did you see that? There's a difference in herd immunity and opening up our economy. I looked at the stats on that video I did, and above 75 years of age, 80% of the people in hospital are above 75 years of age. 80%. And that's about 4,000 daily hospital admissions. So 2,000 of those, 80% of those, are like literally over 75. If you inoculate those, vaccinate those, NHS could be fine. And they're about 50% now into vaccinating these people. It takes a week, 2 weeks for it to kick in, the vaccination. So I think, and already figures are starting to coming down. But have you seen the delay in the figures? And I think that's a good thing. I think they're delaying the figures, they're publishing the figures. Because if it's going in the right direction, there's no more fear, is there? that's like the markets. It's fear and greed, or fear and missing out. We need fear to make it work.
I don't know about.
Also, go on, Pete, sorry.
I don't know about delaying. Don't know if they're not delaying it on purpose. For these things. I would think there is a lag anyway, just because of the scale of this and reporting all of those and having collated all that data, blah blah blah, and then getting it out. I don't think, like you said the other day, we were on the WhatsApp group talking daily figures. I'm like, no, I'm sure. Yeah, how can that be accurate? I mean, because it's going to be. Everyone that's doing the vaccine is so busy doing the vaccine. How are we all reporting all that immediately? So there's going to be a lag. So yeah, hopefully the numbers are even higher than you were seeing, and we'll hit that target and onwards and upwards.
You imagine all the pharmacies out there and different characters in charge of these pharmacies.
Exactly,
some of them are very anal about it, I expect, right? Jane, have you put it on the spreadsheet? Have you given Mrs. Jones a vaccination? Put it on the spreadsheet straight away. And other people are like, how accurate is that as well? Some people say, how many do you do today then, Jeff? Oh, I don't know.
How are they reporting it? How are they
exactly. I think
a central database.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how they do. But obviously, a central database. But at ground level, how efficient is the report? It is something like, if Steve was there on the desk, and Colin or whatever, Cole, how many of you people have you jabbed today? 15, 20, I don't know, 25?
No, I don't.
Yeah. No, you did 25 before breakfast.
If I was doing it, I'd be prioritising the Excel document over the jabs.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but Mrs. Jones, get out of the shop a second. We're sorting out the spreadsheet. Get out.
Exactly.
I know. But I was talking to some guy on the podcast this week, and he said he's sort of, I think he's about 60, I suppose. But he said his mother went in for a vaccination, and he said, trouble is, they were sort of getting it ready and organised. It was tipping down with rain. All these 80-year-olds standing there in the Zimmer frames outside in the lashing down rain it was. And he said, I thought she was going to die before she got there. It's like the weather was so bad. And that's the trouble.
The thing to just bear in mind slightly, though, is that there's two sides to this, isn't there? Like in terms of getting the economy back up and running. Like obviously there's the terror of having lots of vulnerable people dying. But if you want to get the economy back up and running, having masses of people off sick isn't great either. So the Royal Mail this week are having real trouble because so many of their staff are just ill with coronavirus. And that's really hampering their ability to do their job. So it's not like we could suddenly open the doors and every business starts running again. There's going to be until like young people as well. Or people
but look at you,
Pad.
Pad, look at you there. How old are you? You're 40? Are you?
42.
42? Yeah. You had coronavirus, you're off for a day. If that, you probably wouldn't have gone in for a day. That's it. And obviously, if you extrapolate that across...
you still have to isolate for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And here's a good example of what Pad was saying. The council in Cardiff, they obviously had a bad case of the coronavirus because they didn't pick up the bins last week. And it caused mayhem in the street. Everyone was moaning just because their bins weren't picked up 1 week. You're like,
I know it's amazing the knock-on effect it has, right? And I say that and people don't understand. Like if you get coronavirus, you probably won't get affected by it. But you pass it on to your mate, you pass it on to his grandmother, who could kill her. And that's it. Exactly. Or she'll go to the hospital.
There are countries around the world who have gone this the other way around. I can't remember which one it was, but they're vaccinating the young people first, and they're going for the age group that will eventually pass it on to old people because that's the way it spreads to the older people in general. We've seen those graphs.
But hang on. Did you see that case? I watched BBC, and also I was on the treadmill, and I was almost really emotional with it. It was 5 people who have been affected by this coronavirus, but they don't have coronavirus. They have 2 needed kidney transplants, 3 needed proper, cancer operations, and people with husbands, with kids, mothers with kids, young daughters. And I'm thinking, this is awful. And literally, they were touch and go before the lockdown happened, and they needed this last operation or start the chemo or something, and now they can't. They've been told last minute letter, you can't. The NHS is ICUs are full.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the approach. I'm just saying that this way. Just doing it this way isn't necessarily the route to getting the economy back up and running quickest.
No, but they've got to do. I understand, but it's got to be. I think they've got to do. First of all, empty the ICUs, and that's old people, and then key workers. So, like you say, anyone who needs to get the economy back. So, for example, I think NHS staff and also teachers, all that stuff to get kids back to school. Because unless kids are back in school, a lot of people can't go to work, or work from home, so it's limiting them. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to be very selective, not just young or old. I think certain areas, isn't it, of what you do, and it's hard work. But I think, do you know what? I think we're starting to win. I think we are. The figures. I looked in hospital.
Oh, I hope so. I'm really bored of this now.
Yeah, hospital. I know it's been dragging on in it bloody for over a year now. It's like, and hospital admissions are starting to roll over and go down. They've peaked, I think, and we carry on like this. And I think we're opening the economy. And that's what. Do you know what? In fact, looking at that, I was saying, did you see that that report in the week about there was holiday bookings have gone up amongst older tourists, and they're calling it vaccine confidence, whereas they're saying TUI, for example, National Express coach holidays. I can't think of anything worse than a bloody coach holiday. Spending time with 50 other strangers on a coach. Anyway, Barry, this guy said he did more bookings in one day than they normally do in a week this week, and this is National Express, and TUI said they've gone up, and 50% of the holidays are booked by. And that's, to me, that's a change in sentiment, and that's happening. And it's like, when you look at how far the market looks ahead, that's the kind of thing that happens.
Okay, but the flip side is EasyJet cancelling holidays until March. So we're not out of the woods yet.
No, but they will change it. And if you look at that, I look at the chart on TUI, right? I did a video on it. I said vaccine day back on the 9th of November is when big volume happened and all travel stocks and hospitality and leisure stocks jumped. Escape hunt jumped on that day. All these areas that were knocked down jumped. And that was the first bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And of course, it's gone up now. But TUI's doubled in price since that. So the time to buy, as always, is when there's fear in the market, when people are scared, because everything else then is priced in. You sort of, we're getting towards now, like I said, escapements rallied, but it's still got a long way to go. But that was the time to buy when fear is in the market, and that's what Warren Buffett always says, because people.
I think I've worked out. Whenever Pad says he wants to sell, I think that's when you buy.
Yeah. Yeah, right, Pad, you'd be like that. You're not a big fan of volatility, Pad, are you? You get a bit.
I just want to see the total value of my portfolio go up. It just sits at a level and it never moves. Like every time one stock goes up, another one will literally tank and just ruin it all.
But that's why it's a mind game, isn't it? A lot of investing is about investing, right? Is about like any sport. It's a lot. It's 90% mental, and because. The majority of people buy on. Everyone. I don't know if you've seen it now. People are quite bullish at the moment. That's not a good thing for investors. If you're a shrewd investor, everyone's too bullish. Because let's be honest, the stock market's rallied, stocks have rallied. Okay, but the economy is still not performing, is it? I don't know what is it. We're on 50% of capacity economy, maybe, and. But yet we're rallying like it's back to normal. So every year we have a correction. There will be another correction this year. But you shouldn't really, worry about that too much. You should look at individual stocks and say, where's this going to be in 12 months, 3 years, 5 years? And if the trend is your friend there, if it's going to improve, you're fine. Buy the dips. And like I said, you know what? Did you see Brand Shield, right? There's a seller in Brand Shield. And I'm going to do a video on it this weekend. And it's very clever, actually. And it's a very hot area. Let's be honest. Hackers and cybersecurity or theft, phishing, it's never going to stop. It's going to get bigger and bigger. The more time we spend online, the more it's going to happen. So it's a very hot area. But there's a seller in there. And it's amazing how sentiment changes when something's rallying. People chase the share price. When it's dropping, no one wants to buy. Generally on the stock market. But that's the flip reverse to the way you should be, really. You should always think, okay, everyone's bearish. I'm buying. If everyone's bullish, it's like, I don't know who it was. It was Huber, one of the presidents, before the 1929 crash. He was having his shoe shined. Did that still happen, the shoe shine boys? Yeah. And the shoe shine boy asked him what stocks he fancied and all that. He thought, okay, I'm out of the market here. I'm getting out. Because if he's in, everyone's in. There's no more buyers. All there can be is sellers. And so that's
I think you've mentioned that a few times.
Yeah. I've never heard that story before.
But it's a contrarian play, isn't it? And getting it and talking about it in the cold light day is easy, but when you have money invested, it's hard. Your emotions are caught up, and a lot of the time, you have to detach your emotions from it. And
trying to work out where the bottom is, isn't it? Like in retrospect, the bottom is always obvious, but you don't want to jump in. It's almost like the opposite of like waiting to know when to sell. I mean, it is the exact opposite of knowing when to sell.
That's why I did a video on scaling in right this week, because a lot of people talk about Illica and it's very volatile. Paddy, like I said, tweets every day or texts every day in the WhatsApp group. IKEA is volatile, isn't it? And because it is. But I said, listen, don't try and get the perfect price. You'll never get the perfect price. Okay, if you like a company like stock and you think it's going to be higher in 12 months' time or 2 years' time, and I think Illica will be. I think it'll be a £1 billion company if they get it right. They've got the right support in the right area, which is solid state batteries. Don't worry about the volatility for time. If you've got a bit more cash, top up if you're confident on it. But scale in. Don't wait for if you don't sit on the sidelines. I've said to so many people. In fact, someone said to me, "A brand shield. Oh, I'm going to wait now." And I said, "Well, listen, you don't have to wait. There's a couple of options here. There's only two things that are going to happen if you sit on the sidelines. Either the share price will go up, or it'll come down to your price. Now, if it doesn't come down to your price, you sit there kicking yourself thinking, I should have booked money. So buy a tiny bit of any, not just, I'm not going to Illico or Brand Shield, but any company. If you like the company, research it, you think like the area, it's going to get hotter in the future, you believe in it, the valuation is decent at the moment, just think, okay, listen, I'll put a third in of what I was initially going to invest, and I'll wait for dips, because dips will happen, but that dip may be higher up. So it may run away from you before, and then it may come back down.
You don't mean dips, do you? You mean drop opportunity?
Drop opportunity. Sorry, I'm going to get our parlance. Drop opportunity. So it may have to rally by, if it's really hot, it may have to rally by 10, 20% or whatever, or 50 before it has a pullback. But it will have a pullback. But if you take the initial position now, then it'll go up, come back down, then you pull back. You won't be disappointed if it keeps rising. You don't want to miss it. The fear of missing out is very strong. So I have found that even if you've got a little bit in, it helps. It takes off that edge of the fear of missing out, and then
you won't be disappointed with a pullback.
Yeah, exactly. With the drop opportunity. But and because what happens normally is someone will sit there, not buy when a company has gone up by 10%. They're not buy anything, and then they'll go up again the next day. And then they go up the next day, and they'll buy that day then. So they're a lot higher than they're initially going to buy. So just scale in. That's all you need to use. Scale in if you like your company. Have you been scaling in, boys? Have you been practicing that?
No, I've been doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, I scaled in on it.
Scaling out.
Yeah.
No, I kept on buying really small amounts, and I need to, if I'm going to move my portfolio up to the next level now that it's vaguely in profit, I need to be the chunks that I spend need to be higher.
Yeah, well,
so
yes.
I guess I am scaling in, but I'm just making those scales bigger amounts of money.
Yeah. So look at your portfolio, right, and think 10% a minimum. You shouldn't have more. Honestly, I did that thing, and I do it again because I've cleaned up the spreadsheet a bit. But you shouldn't. I think if you want to make money in your portfolio, you shouldn't have more than 10 stocks. Between 5 and 10 is plenty. First of all, more than 10 is too many to keep an eye on. But secondly, dilute the potential for reward. Also, you dilute the potential for risk as well, but that comes hand in hand. But if you do some research on the companies you're in and buy at the right price, you reduce that potential risk. But if you really want to gain some value, and you've got to think in that amount. So, right, overall portfolio value, let's say on figures, 100 grand. Next company, I'm going to put 10 grand in it. I may scale in in 3.5 grand chunks or 3,300 grand chunks. So that's the way you do it. But never start. There's no point putting 1-2% of your total portfolio into one stock. You're not going to get anything from it.
Right. There's a funny thing though, and before I go into this, I understand how percentages work. But if your portfolio is a small amount of money, a smaller amount of money, there's something about the amount of money, not the percentage, the amount of money you're making. Does that make sense?
That's exactly right. This started as a bit of fun for me. Like, this wasn't intended as a sort of necessarily a big money making thing. It was just a bit of fun. So I started with a relatively small amount of cash.
Yeah.
And it became very clear that I'm just sort of like faffing around the edges here. Like if anything, I need to have like 2 or 3 stocks maybe, and have one of them properly re-rate just to get my portfolio to pop to an amount of money which is worth worrying about.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because you kind of go, let's talk some numbers. Like if you've got a 5 grand portfolio and you do the 10% thing, well, you're only putting 500 quid in, aren't you?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of time. Yeah, I mean that's why a lot of private investors starting out, they'll only have one stock because essentially, they can, it's easy to double your money on one stock. No, I think I was like that when I first started. Of course, to be honest, when you first start, you do have to trade a bit and be take a bit more risk on. That's the problem. When you're new to the business or new to the investing, you have to, if you want to make some money, you've got to take a bit more risk, but you know less about the. Now, if I look back at what I did, maybe this, in hindsight, ignorance is a good thing, because I remember going all into Lloyd's, almost stacking up, remortgaging the house and going all into Lloyd's after the financial crisis. But then that paid off. I was going to bed, wake up sweating at night, thinking I'd lost it all. And But at the time, in fact, at the time, I had no other option. I thought, right, I've got to do something here. I've got to make some money, or I'm going to skint. So you take those risks, and then as you make more money, you can take less risk, and you can evaluate it more and think, okay, now what I've built up a little bit of cash, I don't want to start losing it, in silly trades or silly investments. I want to play a proper game here, professional game here. But yeah, it's at the start, is it? But all or bust, isn't it? Really, when you start off with but you can still, but you can still look at this. I mean, when risk. I mean, there's certain things you can still do, even if you're going to go into one stock only. You should weigh up the risks of that stock. And when it's small caps...
Can I just say your example there, like Lloyd's, I know I'm a big fan, but it's never going to be a massively higher risk. You're a much safer stock than putting all your eggs in one basket if the basket is a fly-by-night potential
oil and gas stock, oil and gas explorer. That's part of my reasoning. So when I say when you're weighing up companies, if you're going to put the farm on it and no one's going to prevent you from doing that, then first of all, don't go for an oil and gas explorer because you're likely to lose your money. In fact, if the company you're backing is doing a wildcat oil exploration drill, which means it's never been drilled before in that area, but they've done previous sort of studies on it, and there's oil down there. You might as well go put your money on a 10-to-1 horse. That's the chances you got there. What I'm saying is, when I put my money into Lloyd's, I thought, right, listen, they own 2/3 at the time. I think it was was it a third or 2/3 of the mortgage market in the UK? Yeah. And so if that goes bust, that's going to send. The UK is going to go bust a little bit, and that's going to have. So I think the bank would back it up. The worry I had with the bank backing up is they buy it like they did with the RBS, and big problems or just so. I did look at the risks, but I thought, even so, I overexposed. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking at small caps and you're going to put all your money in one small cap or micro cap, first of all, essentially, do they have enough cash for at least the next milestones, at least 6 months, maybe 12 months, possibly? Is there a big re-rating news event happening? You're not buying the spike. And is it in a trend, that's going up? I mean, I wouldn't go for any resource stock, even though they are the most volatile, and you probably can make a lot of... In fact, one of the first biggest wins we had was Asia Met, which, let's be honest, it doesn't get a lot of risk in exploring in Indonesia for copper, so that's quite volatile, but it's done very well, and or did do very well, and it's come back now, isn't it? So you still holding, Pete, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's the next episode now, isn't it, of the story? So with the arrangement and the BKM asset. The growth there and the potential there. So yeah, come on, it's a long term hold. Come on. It'll be fine.
I'm not. Listen, that's a good way to play it. I mean, copper, of course, is a long-term bull story. That copper with
EV.
the EVs and stuff. Steve, you said about you scaling into Illica, did you?
Yeah, and I think I've done about 4 trades into it now.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
yeah, he's on the company. By the way,
the ironic thing is my scale in actually all 4 trades, but all bought at the same price. So when you say scale in, I could have just bought it all at the same time, to be honest, and saved myself.
Someone that Harry and Larry just giggling in front of the computer.
Oh, look at Steve. He's thanks, Steve. Another 12. How much is a trade? How much is the deal to trade there?
About £2.
12, yeah.
No, it's not.
Another, how much is it? The 12 quid, is it?
About 12 quid.
Oh, another 12 quid from Steve. Go on, Steve. Have another buy.
Oh, the same price he bought last week.
Steve, well done, Steve. Scaling in. Look, excellent. Lessons we taught. Work it off. Always scale in. Make lots of trades. Buy 1 share per trade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve.
Come on, Steve.
I can't remember what to say now. No, yeah, sorry.
I look at EV, right? It's honestly, Matt, did you say the first time ever 1 in 10 cars registered in the UK last year was electric, with EV being registered every 3 minutes, an EV car being registered every 3 minutes, 175,000 vehicles registered, representing a growth of 140%. By the way, do you see that we went on that investor call with Illica, didn't you, Pad? Paddy put his question in, Pad. What was your question, Pad? Just to give people a bit of light relief. What was it?
I said, now that you're moving towards production... Oh, I'm not quite what I said.
It was like, isn't the share price going to hit the solid state?
Quite a lot of volatility he just read it out like he was a robot. Maybe he's like sick of the joke or something. I don't know, but yeah.
I know he's sick of the solid state jokes. Every time they go there, it's another solid state joke.
Will the share price get into a more solid state?
I love solid
I was going
state.
to point out that it was a battery joke, but I didn't think it was necessary. But he didn't.
Well, do you think they make solid state jokes all the time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, seen our new receptionist, Gray? She'd put you in a solid state, eh? Do you think that's the kind of thing to do? But listen, right? So I said, I did that video, right? That for the first time ever, they put a $sign in their release on the interims. I thought, why are they doing that? And I've checked back; they've never done that before. And I spotted that. And I thought, people said, good spot. In fact, it's something about observation. I got an email list, right? And it says on the email list, first name and email address. So I need to put in first name and email address. I'd say 1 in 5 people put their entire name in the first name box. And I think, is that observation? Why don't people see that? It just says first name.
That's intelligence, not observation.
Isn't it? I don't know what it is. Maybe people are just busy. But it just says first name. I don't need your full name, Someone put Mr. Holden in there. Mr. Holden in the first name box. Anyway.
But I also do think on those other things, why put 2 boxes? Why not just put name? Yeah,
So I need your email address.
No, but that's so that, like in a mail-out program, they can use different aspects. And you might want to personalise you don't want to say, hello, Mr. Steve Martin. You want to say, hi, Steve.
Yeah, and that's
right,
so.
okay.
Sometimes it's hard to know which one's the first name.
Yeah, I've gone through my.
It's the one that's first, usually.
Yeah.
Like 4 first names, don't they?
No, but so I've had to go through my thing now, my MailChimp account, and I try and, like I say, I want to personalise it because the email goes out to hi Steve. Now, if you put hi Mr. Martin in there, it doesn't. It's not that. Or hi Steve Martin. Or some people even put all capitals, and that's not it. Anyway,
I know they're a mail list, so yeah, that makes sense. No.
Yeah, so in Illica, right, the interview, I mentioned that I think they're going to list. Now, why wouldn't they? Like I said, their nearest rival is 100 times their valuation in the US. US, pretty much, they value companies, tech companies, more highly than they do over here. And it just makes sense. They go over there, get a lot of interest, right? And it's about access to capital, just bigger profile, everything. And so on the interview, the question was asked, is a US listing in the pipeline to attract further interest and investment? And the guy said, Steve, the CFO, said, we currently don't have any plans to list in the US. How long is current? We are attracting US retail customers into our register. A lot of them are getting through the over-the-counter issuance product. So they're listed in the US. It's called over-the-counter. It's not regulated. I don't understand. So he said, I suggest you buy on AIM because that's regulated. But if you're in the US, you can buy over-the-counter. Different ticker there, but it's still the same shares. He said, as I say, we've had a lot of US retail interest recently, particularly over the Christmas period, and they now account for about 12% of our share register. That's a heck of a lot. Yeah. So 12% of the, and this is because in America, they realise it's super hyped, the solid state battery space. Companies up there very very value. And they think you can't get a company at this valuation in America anywhere near this. So they said, our share, 20% of our share register. So it's clearly a key area to monitor closely. I just think, of course, I just think they're insane not to seek a listing on the Nasdaq. It costs a bit of money, but you would see the valuation times up by 5-10 times easy. So why wouldn't they do that? They said, we're currently not. I think they will do it. It makes complete sense. Why wouldn't you? If you can get your valuation jump up by 10 times in a couple of weeks, why wouldn't you do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Let's get on with it, lads. Come on.
Yeah. It just makes complete sense. So even though they said currently...
What happens to our shares if that happens? Nothing.
They go berserk. Yeah, no, they go up. It's a couple of companies...
in terms of like the ownership of nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. No, nothing changes. No. I mean, if you look at
it's just listed on two.
Yeah.
Changes.
But Nasdaq.
To be honest with you, I was hoping there'll be a little bit of it. I've seen this on our WhatsApp group. It would be nice if it had a little bit of a dip because I would like to buy some more of this, but. Every time I think about it, it seems to jump by 10-20% in a day.
That's
Harry
it,
and Larry will hear this and they'll do that for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's it. The people said that a couple of times. It came down. That's the mental thing, the sentiment of buying on a down day. It's hard sometimes because when you see a thing jump up, then it all of a sudden jumps back down by 15%. You think, oh, hang on. So then people worry.
Especially if you already own some.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, is this going to fail?
Yeah, that's where you need to use buy orders and take the emotion out of it and just look at the chart and kind of go, take a stab at it and go, look, I'll put an order in at 160 or something, and if it gets down to there, great.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is the one stock I actually, for a change, actually really understands, and with it going down, I know Paddy, you were panicking this week, but it's the one time I'm like
panicking.
Right, you were a bit.
Paddy panic. You are
annoyed.
Panic, Paddy. Yeah. But
Can I just say also we're all in a good position that if it goes up, we're all averaging up, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the one thing in the technology world that's kind of suffering at the moment is batteries. So there's a new kind of, and it is revolutionary, but it's not. There's still that at some point in the future where the new battery, which lasts 3 times longer, this like the other, that'll be the game changer in technology.
This is 6 times longer. Solid state, Steve, right? As yet, right? It's been tests on them. I don't think there's yet a commercial offering of solid state, but they are getting there, and they're all confident they'll get there.
That was my other question. So, is it not being used in any product yet at the moment? Is it still?
No. I mean, it's in testing stage still. And
hand hoovers. They kept on talking about hand hoovers on.
Yeah. So at the moment, right? They know solid state can work because they've got these products in. They got 2 products in the Ilika, right? Which I think is better than them just having one product, which is what QuantumScape have. But they've got Stereax, which is IoT medical devices, and these are tiny little batteries, solid state. They last longer. They charge for a long time, and in fact, some of them can be charged by body movement, which is amazing. So they go outside the business. That's ramping up, but to scale up these batteries is quite hard, and it takes a lot of testing because you have to alter different things. That's what they're doing, but they're all very confident it can happen. But like I said, they are non-flammable solid state, which other batteries aren't. That's why Samsung's phones kept blowing up because they've got this liquid state of lithium in them. They charge 6 times faster than traditional lithium-ion batteries. They got a 2 times increased energy density, making them half the volume and weight for a given electrical charge, and 10 times longer storage without loss of charge. So that's how they are the game changers. Even though Elon Musk is there saying no, I don't think solid state is going to be the future. It will be the future, and sooner or later, they'll convert their factories to solid state batteries. When that happens, I don't know who they're going to use. But like someone said to me, do you think Ilika have a chance because there's a Chinese car coming out with solid state battery in it? I said, yeah, but that's in China. We don't buy Chinese cars because we're not allowed to because of different safety and health regulations. There need to be a solid state producer in this country, and at the moment, I think it's only Ilika in this country to produce. We got 1 gigafactory. We need 4 or probably 5, and so we will, and they will be producing solid states in the future. And at the moment, the pioneer in this country is Ilika. And that's going to be a huge. And like I said, why I like big trends is you can sit back when you have volatility in the share price. I don't care. You question yourself that, but next time is volatility in the share price. Think, do you think EV is just going to go away in the next year or so? It's not. We're nowhere near yet. It's still only at 4% of the world's cars running electric vehicles. We got so far to go yet. This is a massive trend. So when this company is a £1 billion company, and if they do what they say they're going to do, they will be. Because already there's other companies in this country like Cirrus Power, fuel cell technology, turning over 20 million, make a 10 million loss, and yet they're valued at 2 billion. It will be. So just sit back and don't worry. It'll happen. A lot of the time.
I'm not worried. I'm genuinely not worried. I'm just annoyed that my portfolio always gets. It's at the cusp of a financial milestone. It gets so close every day, and then Ilika just ruins it. That's the only reason I'm annoyed.
You've got to think we're in the 2008 or probably earlier 2005. Point of Bitcoin of batteries.
That's a good Steve. That's a good one. That's it.
Steve.
It's like when you see that volatility. That's it. The volatility there in Bitcoin.
Today, isn't it?
There's not many people. Steve's on form today. Look at him. Steve been taking. You take extra vitamins, Steve, isn't he?
He's just not making his breakfast or whatever. Whilst also
Steve's got the brain pills.
To be fair, the WhatsApp call did actually wake me up, so I literally came straight onto the podcast.
Steve, were you drunk on Thursday? You were drunk on Thursday, weren't you?
No, I haven't drunk all year yet.
You seemed drunk, didn't you, Pete? He's things you're talking about. What he's on about? You've been doing something. You'd had too many vitamins, I think. But that's why I like trends that are going to be big trends. And I say this, Brand Shield, I'm going to do the video on, right? If you look at how the amount now of cybercrime that's going on, it's phenomenal. And most companies will not talk about it. Most of the banks won't talk about it because, of course, it's your money, it's your security. You don't want to know that your bank has been attacked all the time. Like I said, if you go Brand Shield, AI-powered online technology is very clever. Just scans the internet, detects phishing threats, online brand abuse, takes them down. Now, in April alone, in 2020, they detected 429 fraudulent Levi websites, Levi jeans websites, or Levi's. Wow. That's in April alone. 429, and basically the company will what happens is they've got an in-house lawyers as well, or the company will do it. So and what I like about it is the software as a service business. So even though the revenue is growing, they're on contracts lasting like 3 years. So they've got recurring revenue every year. All they've got to do is add new contracts, and they've got partners who like Levi, Microsoft, Visa. They've just signed up Bristol Square. What's it called? The big pharma company. Bristol Myers Squibb. But if you look at that, they're a £144 billion company. These big companies don't sign up with fly-by-nights, or people. And they said they basically take their software demo. They go into a company, and they'll say, for example, in fact, a note there's an example of Barclays. They'll sit in the Barclays and say, okay, here we are, let's run our software. And they run the software, it'll troll the internet, and it'll basically pick up all these dodgy websites, pretend to be Barclays, or logo infringement, or people using their logo. And so here we are. We've got hundreds of places in a couple of minutes, and it's up to you if you want to do something about that, or you can help you with that. And they pay for that, and they can do that, So it's just phenomenal. And it's going to get worse and worse as more people migrate their lives online. There's more online abuse and money to be made there from dodgy sods.
Yeah, and my understanding is there is some competition in this field, and there are other companies doing this sort of thing. But in terms of the scope of it, I mean, the potential is vast, and it's one area that in-house, like a company, doesn't have that capability and doesn't have that technology, obviously, to do that. And so a service like this, it really made sense. And obviously, they've signed up some very big names already, which is always a good sign. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, as well as the recurring revenue thing, you think, well, the overheads are going to be low, aren't they? Because it's the software and the technology that does the work, if you like. And it's hugely scalable. So, very interesting. And I saw a few people talking about it, as well as you then mentioned it in your newsletter, your email thing on Friday. So yes, I bought some.
So and I think if you get people like Microsoft, right, who are basically software, they are employing brand shield. And that says everything to me, and they know the business, pretty much well, and even Visa and people like this. But I think it's going to be big going forward. And also, there are in their admission document, there's a couple of companies listed there as competitors, but some of them operate in the dark web only. Some of them are not really doing what they're. But also, brand shield's listed.
How do you get on the dark web?
Asking for a friend.
I'll give you the password later, Pat.
Right. But no, is it like a website? How do you do it?
I don't know.
It's www.
Steve,
Steve's
I think you have. Well, it has to be done by like VPN, doesn't it? Like, so you're on a.
Yeah, it's hidden. I think it's like it's hidden areas.
I doubt you can probably get on it on a standard Virgin broadband connection. That's the general gist I get of it.
Why don't they just switch the lights on in there? Why is it so dark? Just put the lights on, lads. Can't see anything going on there. Ooh, what is going on in here then? That's why, see. Yeah. But so I like that, and AI is clever. Do you see that Amazon thing I tweeted out? But literally a scanned Lola, a dog. That's just quite clever, isn't it?
I just don't see the point of that at all.
It's because
when you're out and about, for example, and you can do this.
What is that?
No. For example, let's say, right. It can be anything. So you can go in. We did it in, I think it was in Turkey or somewhere. There's a drink out there. It was quite nice, and it was in Turkish. And you scan it, and it comes up on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. So basically, anything you want to look at. So even if
that's a picture recognition. You
could just type the letters into the internet.
You don't need to do that though. No, but okay. But you can say you see something that's a toy that doesn't have any branding on it or anything like that. That's got a nice toy. Just scan it. And whatever it's called. So it's a new toy.
It's use, though, isn't it?
Say there's a new toy that's doing the rounds say on holidays in Turkey. It's very popular in Turkey. It's a Turkish fad. And you're thinking, that's very popular with Turkish children. It's not popular in my country. Let's kind of see what it is. And, or anything, T-shirts. What I'm saying is the AI is very clever, isn't it? It just scans something.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you just said that to my Alexa last night when I was screaming at it, trying to turn the heating on.
Just use your fingers, Steve. What do you do? Alexa, turn the heating on, you fool! Alexa! It's Steve's house. You don't live in a mansion. You don't live in a mansion, Steve. You just get up and just turn it off, can you? Yourself, or anything.
Well, no, because there's no buttons to turn my heating on or off. That's the problem.
That's the problem. The trouble is, the ironic thing is, Steve got so hot shouting Alexa, he didn't want the heating on afterwards.
One day, there'll be a fire in Steve's house. He'll be trapped inside, shouting at Alexa to unlock the front door. Yeah. Alexa won't be doing that, and Steve will perish.
It's like Space Odyssey, but in a Cardiff flat.
Yeah.
But No, I agree with you. AI and machine learning, all this stuff is very clever. The Google search app has been doing this kind of image recognition stuff like you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I remember you showing me that a long time ago, and I wasn't impressed by that. I didn't understand it.
Okay. But I mean, I think even Lola, your dog, was looking at it going, yeah, hello, this is so last year.
I know, but you know what? The power of companies to monetize anything. I think it's very clever. Like Amazon, sorry, I've got a shop here. We sell everything. We can sell you that, whatever it is. And that's
I think they did that button thing as well, didn't they, for ages? But it was like completely pointless as well. Like how much effort is it to say I need more washing powder? Like
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and you have to buy them as well.
Genius.
I think they might be solving problems that don't exist here just for the hell of it.
Yeah, they got a lot of money. In fact, Elon Musk is no richer than him anyway, so there we are. And,
but failure after failure.
Developing things like that, like you see, you might think there's no obvious reason to have it now, but from that other developments happen that then ultimately become really useful and all that. That's part of development, isn't it? But yeah.
I wonder if there will be a death like that by Alexa. You're at the funeral, Steve's, for example, and you give a eulogy and say, and Steve, of course, was killed by Alexa, and then everyone's phones goes, sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Say it again. Shut up, Alexa! It's your fault in the first place.
You killed Steve.
Leave him alone. Yeah.
There'll be a trial. Alexa will be
Alexa killed Steve.
Alexa.
Do you know what? Just one thing. GFin, right, do a lot of stuff they don't even talk about. And I'm looking at, if you look at their Twitter feed, which is they don't shout about it, which is quite. I don't know whether it's because of the formal sales process. They have to keep their head underwater. They didn't mention these recent sign-ups girls from Activision already. It seems like something's going on. Do you see that over Christmas? They delivered Activision, one of the biggest game developers in the world. They delivered for them a one-off event called Vicstar's King of the Hill, and they developed a microsite for them. Everything. It's there, VixKingoftheHill.com. They did that, didn't mention it, just mentioned it in Twitter. They've also just started again another season with F1. These are brands, to be associated with. It's massive, and most companies, it's like you talk about again, associate yourself. When you get a company, even if it's a mining company, and they get associated with Rio Tinto or BHP or one of the big boys, the share price re-rates crazily, because the big boys know what they're talking about. It's like Microsoft and Brand Shield, So Gfinity associated with all these big brands, and they're still valued at 30 million. And it's going to be profitable esports companies. Nuts, I think. I do think it's underrated. And it's one of those things you have to have patience with, because I know if you sell, it's one of the things I've done before. I've sold, it's gone bananas. They'll do a big deal somewhere. And I just believe in John and the team. It'll happen. It's basically have a bit of patience. And I'm coming to the conclusion now, a lot of times, just stay in there, hang in there, because it's worth it. It's an investor, you're not a trader.
How long is this sales process going to go on for? How long are they allowed to keep it going on?
I don't know. I have no idea. I should ask John, but
ask John.
They like to talk about.
That's it. Ask John.
Yeah, ask John. They like to talk about news, of course, but I should just say.
Well, it's bound to. Let's be honest. It's bound to be good news, because I top sliced off that this week, so because I was a bit overexposed, obviously. So it's bound to go crazy now.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
That's a good thing.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. And I think Stewie's still selling, isn't he? Escape Hunt. He's annoying me, that Stewie.
Oh, Stewie, come on, get rid of it.
I know.
Doing it in 10,000
Just think of all his fees he's have to pay out. That's all.
Yeah, but I feel like saying, listen, Escape Hunt's a case in point, right? They're 13 million market cap. That's all they are. And I genuinely think people are not seeing this as leisure tech now, because that side of the business, that digital gameplay, massive high margins, scalable globally, and they're not pricing that in. And let's be honest, we are, if you look at the holiday booking things, sentiment changing, vaccines now, we are creeping up, over 3 million people vaccinated. They basically, vaccinate these people who fill up hospitals, will open up the economy, and it'll start flying, I'm sure it will, as long as Stewie doesn't start dumping, because he's only got 5% left. But it'll re-rate, and I think the Stewie, okay, you've made a decent chunk, but we're nowhere near where it should be. Nowhere near. They've got 15 sites. It's about £1 million valuation per site, so they're undervalued there anyway. Plus, now you add on the digital, you can double that. You can double the physical sites, easy. So this should be 13 million at least on what they've got now.
It does seem slightly short-sighted. Like if you got that, not unless you're in real urgency to get rid of to get the money, but every time he leaves it a few days, the price rockets up.
That's
why don't you just wait?
I know, because of course, if you inundate a broker with sells, they've got to get rid of it somehow. So they just drop the price, and people then pick it up a little bit. So it's annoying. But
he's also a fairly big player in terms of the volume of shares he had. So he's made significant amounts of money. So, I mean, he's okay with taking some out, isn't he, I think?
Yeah, maybe.
He can always hang on for the dream that it'll go to more and more, but he can just go, well, I'll bank that and put it in somewhere else. Or
Why not just do it in one chunk? I don't get it.
What was that? Sorry?
Why not just do it in one chunk? Like, talk to the broker and just get it done. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's, like I say, maybe he just doesn't want to talk to anyone. But doesn't like talking.
Let's get him on the podcast. Ask about his tactics. Ask about his strategy.
I'd love to hear from him.
Yeah. He's successful.
You try to communicate with him. I have. He obviously doesn't want to call a broker and speak to them. So maybe he's not the type of guy that speaks. That's all.
Maybe it's actually a pseudonym for Steve.
Steve. Yeah, but do you know what? I think a roadmap to £1 on this within 3 years. I think now with digital side, of course.
That was 4 years ago, Justin.
No. And roadmap to what? Don't say that. It wasn't Peter, because people think, oh, see, it's not getting there.
I love yanking your chain on escape hunt.
That was literally 2 months ago, right? And I said within 3 years it'll get £1. You can double that on the digital side now. It's £2, pretty much, and that is a 10 bagger right there, or even after the rise, easy. No, it's so cheap, it's ridiculous. But it'll go. Honestly, boys, we'll look back and say, see, and I'll keep saying, see. That's all I'll say. See.
Okay.
Do you know how annoying me is? Paddy only just joined my last thing here. Paddy only just joined my subscriber list. He pretends he was joined before, but he wasn't.
Right.
You told me I was.
What?
Well, the fact you weren't getting emails was probably a good sign.
Oh, did I tell you? You were? Yeah, you weren't getting emails. Did you? Are you on the list,
I've
Pete?
got the email saying I was a subscriber from 2018.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you sent me a picture. Okay, sorry. The thing is, I clean the list. If anyone doesn't open their emails, because I get charged for that email, because I've got, you start getting charged above, what is it? I think 1,000 subscribers. So
I'm going to sign up more on my email addresses.
So yeah.
Send an email.
No, because you get all the data analytics and all that stuff. You can see a lot. It's very good, MailChimp. It's free up to. In fact, it was free up to 2,000 before.
Yeah.
Then I cleaned the list and went back down. They didn't reduce the fees. What's going on there? So I clean. Anyone doesn't open, say, 5 campaigns in a row, say 5 emails in a row, I just get them off the list. Because then they cost me money.
That's a bit harsh. 5. I would have got more than that.
What do you mean 5? How long did they? No. So you get 5 emails from me. You did open one of them in the last 5. Say 5 weeks. So what am I going to say to make you open it? This will make you.
I must admit, that freaked me out a little bit when one week you said you haven't even opened the email. I was like, how do you know that?
I can tell if you've opened it, what time you've opened it, what links you've clicked on it, everything. So
do you go through everyone's and check that?
No, sometimes I just look at the opener rates. So the last one I sent out on Brand Shield, for example, on Friday, had 73% people opened it. That's massively high.
Can you tell how long they've watched the video for as well?
No, that's videos on there. Well, no, I go to YouTube and look at that. Yeah.
No, YouTube you can.
YouTube I can. Yeah. So normal open rates for emails are done about 10% less than that. So that's 70% of people open that email. So it's massive. So but I'm going to do more stuff on the email list. And I tell you why. Because first of all, YouTube aren't giving notifications, and secondly, I've got a project coming up. I don't say anything yet, but you'll only receive exclusive content if you're on the email list. And even if it's videos, it won't show up on my YouTube channel. So. So sign up if you and it's going forward. If you know someone who would like to learn about investing in a risk-free way, but a bit of fun, then just get on the list. Yeah, get on the list. Go on the list. I'm saying. Yeah.
How have we covered everything on the agenda? It feels like we've just gone off on massive tangents today.
Hang on, the agenda. Yes. Was there anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I did a survey on Cambridgeshire. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. But in Cambridgeshire in December. They allowed people driving EVs to drive in the bus lane, use the bus lane.
That's a ridiculous idea.
And see, you're a cyclist, and apparently cyclists are up in arms about it because they're allowed in the bus lane. And
no, nothing to do with being cyclists. It's just that buses are a far better way of transporting large numbers of people.
As someone who uses buses quite a lot, the bus lane's the thing that makes the buses work.
Exactly.
They're full of EVs.
Yeah, exactly. It defeats the object, doesn't it, of the bus? Yeah, completely. So shouldn't encourage that.
No, but they're trying to encourage the buses and diesel though.
Yeah.
So the buses are diesel, aren't they? So
yeah.
So
those will carry 500 people.
We'll put a solid state battery in a bus and then ban every other EV.
Oh, look, Monty's in my bag in the drawer.
Okay.
9 o'clock is the time they go on Fortnite for an hour. They say now, but it drags on. I have to get them off. I have to actually cut the internet off to get them off. One more game, just finishing this game, Dad. I know nothing about Fortnite. I don't know how long a game lasts, but sometimes it lasts up to an hour and a half. Just finishing the game. Come on, you said that half an hour ago. We're finishing the game. So now,
it'll never end.
Now just pull the wire at the back of the router, and so right, that's it. Dad, you switched the internet off. I told you I was going to do that half an hour ago. We're in the middle of a game. You're always in the middle of a game. It's like, that's what it is. Anyway, on the poll, 50.8% people said no, it's not a good idea to let EVs use the bus lane. 14, even Stephen, just like Brexit over again. 49.2% said yes, it is to encourage EVs.
I bet they're all EV users.
Yeah, no, exactly. Anything else, boys? Steve's got itchy feet. Oh no, Steve's itchy feet was quite good. You said that. That's the thing with cash. You said you got cash, your itchy feet.
Yeah.
This is when I thought you were drunk on WhatsApp. But that is the case, isn't it? When you got cash, you want to spend it. No, it's a thing, isn't it?
I think before I was obviously very overexposed in GFin, but then obviously at that point, there's that kind of thing like you can make lots of money if it does jump up. So I do feel more safe now. I have TOPS license now, but now I'm like, well, that money's not going to make me any money now. So how am I going to be rich when it just sat there as cash?
How am I going to be rich? That's it.
Yeah.
Just hold the stocks you've got, Steve. They're all in good trends. They're going to do very, very well. Just sit there, do nothing. That's the hardest thing for humans because we're programmed to do things. See? That's what, you know. Yeah, I suppose so. All right, boys. Any plans for the weekend?
Oh, massive.
Yeah. I'm going to look in the living room. I'm going to walk to the kitchen. Maybe take the dog for a walk. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Have a nice weekend.
Boring, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it is. Bloody boring. It's like, sodding coronavirus. Come on. We'll get the boys. In a year's time, was it? Do you remember coronavirus? That was nuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend, boys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.